What is going on, MELD Nation? Welcome back to the Dapp Central YouTube channel. My name is Fareed, and in today's video, I want to break down all of the latest developments that have been made to the MELD testnet. Now, this is going to be a thorough review of the MELD app, which includes their wallet, the supply and borrowing feature, as well as the staking option, again, which is going to be launched on the testnet. Now, before I jump into that, I want to do a little bit of house cleaning here, basically updating you guys on the fact that they're going to be updating their staking URL. So let me share my screen here. And what you guys are going to notice is that the MELD team will be updating the URL for their current staking on the mainnet. Now, as a little bit of background, when the MELD team initially released their token on the mainnet, which took place around the end of January of 2022, they released two staking options. So one was a 12-month staking period where you were rewarded with a 15% APY, and the second was a 6-month staking option where you were rewarded with a 12% APY. Now, if you participated as a part of the 12-month, that should now be unlocked. And if you participated as a part of the 6-month, they did have an extension up until December 31st of 2022. So if you participated up until that very last moment, then you are currently staking in order to earn that 12%, again, with the 6-month staking option. And so keep this in mind here moving forward. So it states here, aside with the old and in with the new. This is going to be an important update for people that are still staking. The MELD team will be moving their staking portal to a new URL. Right now, it's currently hosted at app.meld.com, but they're going to be changing it to stake.meld.com. Now, if you're wondering why this is being done in order to have a smooth transition from the current Dapp to the new shiny one, which is highly anticipated. Now, the MELD team just recently released an update stating the fact that they would be releasing their MELDapp Wallet as well as launching their L1 blockchain on the Avalanche subnet on May 3rd. So in preparation of that particular update here, they're trying to reorganize the URLs associated with their website. And so it states that the old URL, which is going to be app.meld.com, will still be supported for the next 7 days. However, after that, you will have to head over to stake.meld.com. Again, this is just going to be a user interface update, but nothing with the actual staking features or functionality will have changed. And so that said, if you guys have bookmarked the website right now, make sure to go ahead and update those bookmarks here moving forward to the new staking URL. If you guys have any questions, feel free to head over to their Discord or their Telegram, where the majority of the team is more than happy to answer your questions. Now, that is going to be it there for the housekeeping. As I mentioned, as a part of this video, what I want to do is talk to you guys about the actual wallet and all of the features that have been made or updates that have been made here over the course of the past few months. So I've got a fully dedicated video basically breaking down how to get access to the MELD testnet if you guys don't already have access to it, but it's going to be pretty simple. So this initially kicked off as a closed testnet, which started in about January of 2023, and around March they opened it to the general public. If you want access to this, you can head over to their Discord, enter a few commands in order to get an email sent over to you, and then from there you can go ahead and create an account pretty quickly. Now, once you do that, you will be automatically given or airdropped tokens within your wallet, so you can begin testing right away. Now, during my first review of this particular platform, they only had the wallet and some bare bones features for the supply and borrowing. And so what I want to do today is give you guys an overview, given the fact that they've added so many additional features here that I did not get to cover when I made my first video back in January. And so first things first, we're going to take a look at the wallet. Following that, we're going to jump into NFTs, and then we're going to jump into supply and borrowing. And then in closing, we're going to touch on staking. So that said, if you guys appreciate this type of content, please make sure to tap that like button. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, consider subscribing. And if you guys have any questions for me about MELD or any of their products, then make sure to leave a comment down below. All right, starting at the top left-hand corner here within the wallet, we have our overview. So from here, we can see exactly how much our wallet is actually worth. That same value is also displayed here. And then we can see exactly how many assets we hold. So right now I hold over 13 different fungible tokens, which include Cardano native tokens, as well as tokens on the MELD network, and then tokens on the Matic network as well. So for example, if I select T-ADA, which is going to be test ADA, you can see here that it's T-ADA on Cardano, and I can also see this Cardano logo here at the top right-hand side. If I select another token, for example, like T-Doge, which is going to be on the MELD network right now, you can see that the logo is updated here, and I can also see that the T-Doge currently exists on the Kanazawa network, which I believe is going to be the test network for the MELD sidechain. Now, if I scroll all the way down here, we've got some tokens on Matic as well. And if I select that, you can see that the logo updates here as well. And then I can confirm that this is on the Mumbai network, again, for the test Matic. So again, the wallet is supporting not only Cardano, but EVM compatible tokens. That's going to be the first update there. Now, if I select one of these tokens here, I can get access to all of my transactions by clicking on this transactions button here, or alternatively, I can click on the button at the top right-hand corner of the screen here as well. So if I click on that, I can see all of my transactions, whether they're outbound or inbound here for my particular token. If I close this out and I select a different token here, for example, like the test MELD token, I can also do the same thing again here. Now, if you want to send or receive a token, you can click on either of these two options. The arrow pointing downwards is to receive. So if I click on that here, I'm presented with my Cardano wallet address. Now, if I want to receive an EVM compatible token, I can quickly click on this drop down here. And again, you can see the 3 networks that are currently supported. For example, let's say I want to receive something on the MELD L1. I can click on that and I can see my wallet address here. And then if I want to receive something on the Mumbai Testnet, I can also click on that and see that wallet address here. Now, if I jump over here and I want to maybe send some tokens, I can click on this up arrow instead. And then I can quickly pick the token. Again, by default, it's going to show me the test MELD since that's where I clicked it on. And then if I have different versions of the test MELD token here, for example, on the L1 or on a separate blockchain, that would also be listed here. But right now, they're all on Cardano. Using this slider, I can quickly adjust how much of the MELD token I want to send, or I can quickly also type it in here manually myself. I can paste an address here, and then once I do so, I can then be presented with the time it'll take for the transaction to go through, and then any of the gas fees that I may have to pay. So that's going to wrap it up there when it comes to the sending and receiving. And then to the right of that, here we've got the price history chart for whatever token that we're looking at. So as I switch over to different tokens, you will notice that this chart will actually update. Right now, we've just seen a dump for Cardano as well as Bitcoin. So that is actually represented here pretty accurately given the price action that we've seen over the course of the last few hours. Now, as I select different time periods, that does also update. So for example, I'm now viewing the 60-day time frame. And if I jump back over to the 1-day time frame here, as you guys can see, I can see a much more granular view of what is going on. Now, on the right-hand side here, I've got my risk score. And right now, you can see that it is at about 32%, and I have about 4 different investments. We're going to touch on what those are here in just a moment, but I'm currently supplying 2 assets, and I'm also borrowing 2 assets, which is why I'm seeing a total of 4 investments. Right now, I can see that I have a total of $5,200 currently invested, and that is going to be in addition of all of the assets that I've currently supplied, as well as all the assets that I've currently borrowed. So this is the entire value of the 4 investments. If I click on exchange here, this is going to be a feature that is going to be coming soon, but I believe that you'll actually be able to swap tokens, right, directly from within the MELD wallet. So that is not yet functional, but as that does come online here, I'll go ahead and provide another update similar to this one that I'm doing right now. Now that's going to wrap it up there for the fungible tokens. I do also want to mention that when this first came out, we did not have support for NFTs. We now do have support for NFTs. So if I click on this NFT section here, you're going to notice that I have none other than a golden bank manager. Now I want to take a minute here to basically just say that the bank managers are going to be coming very, very soon. I can't share too much here, but I do know that they are wrapped up and that the team will be minting them over the course of the next few weeks. So stay tuned on that. But as we can see here, on the left-hand side, I can actually see an image or preview of my NFT. And if I click on it, I can see it blown up here in the middle. To the right of that, I've got the activity, so I can see the name. I can also see when it was minted, and then I can also see some of the properties associated with the NFT. So pretty cool feature here, and these are going to be, I believe, the actual traits coming out with the live bank manager. So if you guys want a little bit of alpha here, this is what you guys can expect when it comes to some of the traits. When it comes to the bank manager NFTs, we've got the background, body, eyes, mouth, hair, clothes, accessories, face, corona, neck piece, and special. At the very bottom, I can see the policy ID associated with the NFTs, as well as the asset ID or the asset number. One last thing to add when it comes to the MELD app supporting NFTs is that NFTs from Cardano as well as EVM compatible NFTs will both be supported. In the example that I just showed you guys there with the Golden Bank Manager, that was actually an EVM compatible asset. Now the team has also confirmed that on May 3rd with the MELD app that's going to be released, that they will be supporting regular CNFTs or Cardano NFTs. So a pretty cool feature here. Not only does the MELD wallet support EVM compatible fungible tokens, but it'll also support EVM compatible and Cardano NFTs. So that's going to wrap it up there for the wallet, in which we talked about the fungible tokens as well as the NFTs. Now, if we jump over into the supply and borrowing section here, we're going to talk a little bit more about exactly how this works. So by default, I'm presented with an overview. I can see my net worth, which is going to be the total amount that I have actually lent over to the protocol, subtracting the amount that I've borrowed. So this is going to be slightly different than the amount that I saw here within the risk score, right? So here is the total value of all four assets combined. And then here in the supply and borrowing overview, I'm going to be presented with the total assets lent minus the total assets borrowed. Now, right in the middle, I can see my net APY. Given the fact that I'm lending and borrowing, I'm going to have a yield for the assets that I'm lending out or supplying to the protocol, and then I'm going to be accruing interest on the assets that I'm currently borrowing. So this is going to be both of those values combined, giving me a net APY. So given the total amount that I've currently supplied and the amount that I'm borrowing, I am just making a little bit or paying a little bit of interest. Now, at a glance, with my loan quick view here, I can see exactly how many assets or how much I've supplied compared to the amount that I have borrowed. If I actually hover over it, you guys can see that I'm currently supplying about $4,300 and I'm borrowing about $906. So a pretty decent ratio here. And a quick way to decide or to tell exactly how risky you are in terms of a position here, you have this risk factor. So as I provide more liquidity, or as I supply more assets, the risk factor will actually go down. But as I begin to borrow more assets, almost kind of matching the amount that I've supplied, the risk factor will go up. Keep in mind that MELD is going to be a platform that is basically going to be providing over collateralized loans. So you always want to make sure that you're providing more assets to the protocol than you are borrowing. The closer that ratio is to being 1-to-1, the closer or the riskier your position will be. So moving forward, as this platform actually comes online, again, we don't have a mainnet launch date yet for lending and borrowing. You will want to keep that in mind. You don't want to have too much risk given the fact that you could be potentially liquidated on the platform. I also want to take a quick minute here to also highlight that you don't ever actually have to borrow on the MELD platform. As a part of my examples, I always mention lending and borrowing, but if all you want to do on the MELD protocol is lend, you can do that. In that way, you're not ever in risk of getting liquidated, and you can make sure that you're always earning a steady yield. So keep that in mind. If you only want to do one action, which is to lend, you can do that. But in order to borrow, you do have to put down collateral, which means that you have to do lending and borrowing. So if you want to borrow, you have to do both. But if you want to just lend, you can do that by itself. Now, right below the overview, I can see my borrowing power, which is basically how much more cash or how much more USD value I can borrow. And then I can also see how much I've actually borrowed, which right now is about $906 given my two assets. Now, on the right-hand side of the screen, I can see both of those assets, which right now it's TADA and TIUSD. And then on the left-hand side, I can see what I'm currently supplying, which is TADA as well as IUSD. Now, focusing on the left-hand side first, I can see the total amount that I have supplied here, which is $4,300. And in the green, I can see my current APY or my current yield that I'm generating given the $4,300 that I'm currently supplying. Right below that, I have a breakdown of those. So the T-ADA is going to be $3,300 of the total $4,300, and that is earning me a 0.04% interest or yield, whereas the IUSD, I have $970 of that currently supplied to the protocol, and that is earning me about 2% in terms of yield. So a much more lucrative deal here when it comes to yield, given the fact that IUSD is providing me a higher yield compared to ADA. So keep that in mind as well. Different assets that you supply will provide you with different APYs as well as different yields. So if I click on assets that I can now supply, I can see based off of the fungible tokens that I hold in my wallet that I just reviewed here, that I can actually supply to the protocol in order to earn yield. So right now I have T-ADA, I have T-MELD, T-MIN, Hosky, IUSD, and WMT. Again, the percentages shown here in green are going to be the actual yield amounts that I can earn depending on how much I begin to supply. Now moving over to the right-hand side here, I have the assets that I'm currently borrowing. So this is the overview. I can see that I'm currently borrowing a total of $906. Again, I'm going to be paying a total of 2% interest on the amount that I'm currently borrowing. Right below that, I've got a breakdown of exactly how much interest each of the assets that I'm currently borrowing is earning, or is charging me, I should say. And so with T-ADA here, I'm currently borrowing $419, where I'm getting charged an interest rate of 0.7%. And then with IUSD, I'm borrowing about $500, where I'm having to pay about 3.89% interest on the assets that I'm borrowing. Now, if I jump over on the left-hand side again here, if I want to supply a particular asset, I can click on supply. And you can quickly see here that I can just go ahead and just kind of use this bar here to identify exactly how much of the existing amount that I have that I want to supply to the protocol. Now I'm going to close this out here. And let's say that I want to view assets that I can actually borrow. I can click on this option here. And then I can also see on the right-hand side what assets are available for me to borrow. So let's say I want to borrow some more T-ADA. I can click on borrow here. Again, I can use this slider to decide exactly how much I want to borrow. Now, keep in mind that there are going to be limits. Given the fact that you have to have more collateral than you're borrowing, there will be an LTV or loan to value ratio that you can actually borrow against. So for example, right now, as you guys can see here, I have a liquidation threshold of 66%. What this means is that at any time that my loan to value ratio hits 66%, my assets will be liquidated in order to make sure that the MELD protocol does not actually go underwater or lose any funds. Right next to that, I have the liquidation penalty. This is going to be a fee added to my liquidation in the event that that occurs. That will be going directly to the MELD protocol. To the right of that, I have the max LTV. So by default, let's say that I'm providing a total of $10,000 worth of T-ADA. That means that I can borrow a maximum of $6,300 worth of T-ADA. Again, that's going to be the value of the loan against the value of the amounts that I have supplied. So that's the LTV value. And then to the right of that, I have the risk factor, which we talked about a little bit earlier. The closer that I'm borrowing to the amount that I have actually supplied, the higher the risk factor will be. Now, right above that, we have the pool utilization. So this is going to be, if I'm looking to borrow T-ADA, I can see exactly how much T-ADA has been supplied by all of the users on the protocol right now, which is about $170,000. And then to the left of that, I can see exactly how much of that is actually being used or being supplied to other members on the platform. So right now, that's at about 6.82%, or about 403,000 of the test ADA that is currently available on the protocol. Now, one other thing I want to touch on here before I wrap up this particular section is that at any time, if you want to pay back a loan, you can just go ahead and click on the repay option here, and then go ahead and actually provide how much of the borrowed asset that you want to repay back. Similarly, if you want to withdraw any assets that you've supplied in terms of lending to the protocol, you can also go ahead and use this withdraw button here, and then using the slider or manual inputting exactly how much of your funds you want to withdraw. That is going to do it there for supplying and borrowing. Next, I want to touch on the staking section, and then we're going to close out today's video. So this is a brand new section here that was not also available on the initial launch day, but on the top left-hand side here, I can quickly see exactly all of the tokens that I have staked. I believe that they'll be adding dollar amounts here, similar to what we have here on the other two sections where I can see all of the assets that I currently have supplied versus all the assets that I currently have borrowed. So if I jump back over into staking, I can see right now all the assets that I currently have staked. So right now I'm staking Cardano, and keep in mind that when this wallet launches on May 3rd, they will be supporting Cardano native staking. So what you're seeing here now will be available here once the MELDapp launches on May 3rd. So I can also see what assets are going to be stakeable. So right now I hold about 1,300 Test ADA tokens, which is worth about $5,000. If I want to stake that, I can do that by clicking on this stake icon here. Right next to that, or when I do click on that, I can see the total amount that will be staked. And then I can actually see how much I'm going to be earning, or how often I'm going to be earning, which right now in Cardano is every 5 days. I can see the APY and the transaction fee and exactly when the delegation will become active. Now, if I close this out here, and on the right-hand side, we take a look, I can see the current pools that I'm already delegated to. So I'm already staking, which right now, as you guys can see on the testnet, will be earning me about 4.9% in terms of yield. Now I can see right below the total amount that I'm currently delegating. And then on the right-hand side here, I can actually select which pool I want to delegate to. So a pretty cool feature here, again, allowing me not to only see the yield and how quickly I'm going to be earning the funds, but I can also actually have the ability to pick the exact pool. And so if I click on this particular pool here, as you guys can see, it shows me exactly how much ADA is staked to that pool, the APY that the pool is earning, and I can also see the pool margin, the forecasted rewards, the website or the name of the actual pool, and then some pretty cool stats here surrounding the pool. So I can see the saturation, what epoch we're in, the current pool pledge, how many delegators are delegating to the pool, the total number of blocks per epoch, as well as the min pool fee. If I want to access the pool website, I can click on this icon here. So pretty thorough when it comes to staking. And one thing that I want to note here is that they're probably going to support other types of staking as well. So right now, this is just showing Cardano native staking, but being that they already support EVM tokens that I showed you guys on the other tab, which included Testmatic and the Test MELD from their L1, I would assume that they'll also be supporting or adding support for staking of those tokens as well. Now, if I jump back over into the wallet here, and I just click on the overview icon here at the very top, I want to close out here by highlighting that I can also see the total amount staked here on my wallet. So I can see that I'm currently staking $5,000, again, earning me that 4.9% yield. And I can see my effective yield. And this is going to now take into account staking and what I'm supplying and borrowing. So if I jump back over here, if I just kind of show you here, when it comes to supply and borrowing, I'm earning a net APY of minus 0.02%. And then when you combine that with the amount that I'm also earning from staking, that gives me an effective yield of 4.88%. So this is going to be the overall yield, or probably one of the most important numbers here when you're looking at your entire MELD wallet. Again, at a glance, you can see exactly how much you're supplying, and then to the right of that, how much you are borrowing. That is going to do it here for today's video, breaking down all of the features of the MELD app, which includes the MELD wallet, supplying and borrowing, as well as staking. Now, they will be launching an additional governance portal here as well within the wallet. And as always, as that becomes available, I'll do my job here to provide you guys an update video. If you guys found today's video to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, I would really appreciate it if you guys could tap that like button. If it's your first time stumbling by the channel and you want more content just like this, consider subscribing. And if you guys have any questions for me about MELD or any other platforms you're building on Cardano, then make sure to leave a comment down below. That said, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.